Hi, how are you? My name is Marcus. I'm 43 years old, and today I'm here to share a true story with you. An adventure I had with my friend Ed, and I'm telling you this as a way of saying thank you for supporting our channel. That's right, our channel. Because here we are, a family, a safe space where we can live and share our fantasies without fear of being judged. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support, and yes, I love you all. Kinaj. Now, let's get started. As I said, I'm Marcus, 43 years old, married, father of 2 teenage children. I have a wonderful wife. A normal life. The kind that many people see from the outside and think is perfect. But the truth is, not everything is so simple on the inside. In high school, I made friends that would last a lifetime. And today, decades later, we still have a select group of friends. We play ball together, have barbecues, go fishing, man stuff. And among those friends is Ed. Ed has always been the guy who gets attention. Handsome, manly, with a well-groomed beard, athletic body. He always attracted more attention from girls than any of us. Not that I'm ugly, I take care of myself. But Ed is on another level. And I confess, I always admired that about him, maybe even more than I should have. Sometimes, Ed attracted attention, and not always just from women. There were some guys too, the ones who like men who didn't hide it. And that always became a joke among us. Locker room banter, comments at barbecues. And he laughed. He laughed in that carefree way, like he was above such things. But he never denied anything either. He would just give them a mischievous look and say, "A real man isn't afraid to experiment." We would all laugh together. We would joke around. But deep down, there was something in me that paused for a few seconds when he said those words. I laughed, yes, but sometimes, inside, a part of me remained silent, thinking. 2 years ago, Ed divorced his wife. The marriage had been lukewarm for some time, and since they had no children, the process was smooth. No fighting, no scandal. After that, he continued as usual. He was present at games, barbecues, fishing trips, always in a good mood, always a good friend. But there was one thing. We never saw Ed with another woman again. He never mentioned anyone, never brought up the subject, never even looked at anyone. But no one seemed to notice. Or if they did, no one said anything. No jokes, no questions, no teasing. In our group, everyone minded their own business, and that had always been a code between us. So everything went on as usual. After another football game, we decided to go to Ed's house for a few beers. The team was exciteder. Group is always the same. 6 guys who have known each other for years. Laughter, jokes, the usual banter. The kind of night that makes you forget about the world outside. The meat sizzling on the grill, the music playing softly in the background, the beer cans piling up on the table. Everything seemed the same as so many other times. But there was something different, although I didn't know what yet. As the hours passed, the conversation slowed down. One by one, the guys started to leave. Some said their wives were calling, others that they had to get up early the next day. And when I realized it, only the 2 of us were left, me and Ed. The silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable. On the contrary, there was a strange peace at the end of the night. The grill was still smoldering. The light from the porch cast shadows on the floor. And there we were, sitting side by side, more silent than talkative. He offered me another beer. I accepted. And so we stayed. 2 mature men, tired of the game, maybe of life too, sharing the rest of the night as if nothing was happening. But I could feel it. Something was in the air. The conversation became more relaxed. We started making more suggestive jokes, the kind that always happened between friends. But that night they sounded different. The mood between us changed. There was something in the air. The looks lingered longer. The smiles came more slowly. And that's when I blurted out, "If you were a woman, there wouldn't be much left of our friendship after tonight." He looked at me for a few seconds, then smiled, kind of out of the corner of his mouth, with that look I know so well, direct, firm, but full of secrets. "I'm not a woman," he replied. "But what if I do?" I was speechless. A second turned into an eternity. My heart beat faster. I didn't know if he was joking, or if he was serious. All I could say, in a low voice, was, "You know, I'm almost drunk, and I'm pretty easy, so don't joke around, or I'll score on you." And I smiled. He smiled again, this time more seriously, and he said quietly, his voice hoarse, "I'm almost drunk too." And then he came closer, slowly at first, as if testing the ground, but as soon as he got close, everything changed. He pulled me by the back of my neck, holding me firmly, and kissed me hard. No hesitation, no testing, it was urgent, hungry, as if he had been waiting for this for a long time. Our mouths met thirstily, tongues, teeth, breathless breathing. A kiss that didn't ask for permission, it took it. I responded with the same hunger. I held his waist, feeling his hot, hard, vibrating body. There was no turning back. There, in that kiss, the line was crossed. And neither of us wanted to go back. And then we made love. It was surreal. It was urgent. It was unlike anything I had ever imagined. There was no script, no rehearsal, just instinct, desire, and surrender. Two bodies that had known each other for years, but that night they discovered each other in a completely new way. It was intense, hot, real, and at the same time, inexplicably natural, as if it had always been there, just waiting to happen. When it was over, still panting, he turned to me and said with a half smile, "Our friendship is still the same, okay?" I smiled back. I lightly touched his chest and replied, "Of course. And don't forget, my secret is yours too. It can't leave here." He looked me in the eyes, serious, firm. "It never will." And in the silence that followed, between the messy couch and our sweaty bodies, we knew everything had changed. And at the same time, everything was exactly where it should be. That day, I went home with a feeling that was hard to describe. In a way, I felt fulfilled, and at the same time, somewhat surprised at myself. The days went by and, curiously, everything seemed the same. The conversations in the group, the jokes, the messages, as if nothing had happened. Ed and I talked to each other as usual. No mention of that night. No reference to what we had experienced. It was as if the secret was kept silent, but alive between us. Until, one late afternoon, my wife called me into the kitchen. "Honey, Ed's home alone, right?" "Yeah, he is. Why?" She smiled as she chopped vegetables. "Should we invite him over for dinner on Saturday?" My heart skipped a beat. But my answer was firm. "Sure, honey. We can invite him." I grabbed my phone right there, with her standing next to me, and recorded an audio message in front of her, trying to sound as natural as possible. "Hey Ed, my friend. My wife and I are inviting you to have dinner with us this Saturday." I sent the message, and waited for a reply, with my phone still in my hand and my mind racing. Then he replied with a voice message. At that moment, my stomach tied itself in a knot. My wife was still there, next to me, setting the table. I was afraid to put it on speakerphone right away, so I did what any nervous man would do. I pressed play and held the phone to my ear first, just to be sure. Ed's voice came through steady, calm, but the mere sound of it made my heart race. "Hi, my friend. Of course I'd love to. Thanks for asking. It'll be great to see you all." I took a deep breath. I put it on speakerphone right after, trying to sound carefree. She heard it, smiled slightly, and left the kitchen as if she had already imagined that answer. And I stood there, alone, holding my phone, my heart beating a mile a minute. My mind racing, imagining 1,000 things. Images of the last time we were together suddenly flooded my mind. His mouth, his touch, his kiss. And now, he was coming to my house. To have dinner with us. As if nothing had happened. But it had happened. And I had no idea what it would be like to look him in the eye, with my wife sitting at the table. Saturday arrived. It was around 7 p.m. when he showed up. I went to open the door, and there was Ed, handsome as ever. Well-groomed, smelling good, with that confident and calm air he always had. We greeted each other with a firm handshake, a little longer than usual. He came in, and we went straight to the kitchen, where my wife was already setting things up. The three of us talked there. My kids had gone out to a college party, so the house was quieter than usual. While dinner was getting ready, we opened some beers. We laughed, exchanged stories, and reminisced about silly things we had done together. Everything seemed normal, or at least it tried to seem normal. Dinner was ready, we sat down at the table and ate together. The food was great, the conversation flowed, but inside me, my heart was still beating a little fast, as if I were waiting for something, or reliving something. After dinner, we continued talking for a while, until Ed looked at his cell phone, got up and said, "It's time for me to go. Thanks for dinner, it was delicious." We walked him to the door. He got in the car, but nothing. He tried to start it once, twice, 3 times, and the engine didn't respond. I went back to my wife, who was standing next to me. "I don't think the car is going to start today," he said, a little embarrassed. "Can I leave it here and call a mechanic tomorrow? I'll call a ride-hailing app right now." "Sure, go ahead," I replied, trying to sound calm. He locked the car, handed me the keys, and grabbed his phone to call for a ride. That's when my wife said, "Honey, take him home." He hesitated. "No, don't worry about it, I'll be fine." But she insisted, smiling. "Come on, Marcus, we'll take you. Go on, honey?" "Sure, Ed, I'll take you. I'll just get my keys." I got in, grabbed the keys to the other car, came back, and we both left. During the ride, we talked, laughed, and joked around as usual. The tension seemed to have dissolved into thin air, or been disguised behind jokes. At one point, without even thinking much, I blurted out, "So, how are you today? Everything okay?" He smiled and replied, looking out the window, "Yeah, I'm fine." Then he turned to me, smiling slightly. "And you?" "I'm fine too." That was all I needed to hear. I parked the car right there on the shoulder, and for a few seconds we just looked at each other. And then it happened. Once again, we lost control of the situation. This time it was quick, intense. I couldn't stay long, but even so, it was real. It was full of urgency, of desire. 2 desires that could no longer pretend they didn't exist. When it was over, we drove to his house. He got out of the car, but before closing the door, he looked at me with that naughty smile and said, "See you later, hottie." I smiled back, my heart still racing. "Don't play with that, you bastard." He looked at me intently, gave a half smile, and replied, "I don't play with serious things." We stared at each other for a second longer than usual, and then he turned his back, went into the house, and I stood there, breathing deeply, trying to digest it all. I drove back in silence, trying to breathe deeply. I got home and acted normal, so as not to arouse any suspicion. But inside, the whirlwind continued. And that was our second adventure. I don't know if it will happen again. I'm afraid someone in the group will find out. But I hope not. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. A true story, lived intensely, and told with great affection. Thank you to each and every one of you who supports this channel for being a part of this with me. Kisses. I love you all.